Hello, I'm Wayne Gardiner. Tonight's Australian story is about a man who was often trackside in the days when I was Grand Prix racing. He's Doug Sunderland, and at the age of 85, he embarked on an epic solo bike ride. His adventure captured the imagination of a younger generation and became a social networking phenomenon. This is his story.
Doug's very natural on a bike. He's been riding for 71 years and knows a bike left, right and centre. But off the bike, he's an old guy still. His body shows signs of accidents he's had on bikes when he used to race. When I first met him, I made him a cup of tea and he proceeded to spill most of it over his boots. And it was that amazing contrast of this man who's showing the signs of being 85, but on the bike you can't tell.
One of the things that really get me wild and mad and damned upset is the people that say, "You're riding a motorbike at your age." I said, "Well, what's age got to do with it?" People seem to think when you get to a certain age, you switch a time switch off in your head and you don't do anything. That's not the way to live. When I was about 75, I decided if I ever got to 85, I would do 52,000 K in 52 weeks, averaging 1,000 per week for a year. So I did Australia clockwise, flew to New Zealand and did both islands. And now I'm riding Australia anti-clockwise.
He wanted to circumnavigate anti-clockwise. He had this harebrained scheme that tailwinds was going to save him fuel, and he set off to do that.
I've got a feeling this is going to be Doug's last big trip. He's had prostate cancer for ages now, but it's really starting to take a toll. His riding makes him feel better, but he knows that the cancer is definitely getting worse.
There's me down the Antarctica.
I met Doug in March 2010. I was the marketing manager for a motorcycle jeans company, and Doug had some ideas on product design that he wanted to share. But you've travelled a lot.
I've camped on every continent in the world.
At first I thought he was a grumpy old bastard. That was the truth. Is this a trip here?
Oh yeah.
But then we spoke for about 2.5 hours about his life, and he captured me from the first moment.
I'm stuff this, I'm not going to sit here and rot.
Yep.
That's not how I live.
He'd been through so much and was still so positive about his life. He represented what I wanted to be.
Chris knew he was going out on this big journey alone and didn't want him to be out there without anybody else to help him out if he needed it. So Chris thought, even if I can't be there or we don't know anybody who's going to be along the way now, if we can connect him with riders along the way, they'll be inspired, they'll want to help him out.
Well, I decided to do what I knew I could do, which was get a social media following for him. And the best way for me to do that was to use Facebook. I needed to create a concept of something that people could connect to, and I liked the idea of cavalry, of people who ride.
Chris started talking it up on Facebook and advertising through the social media network. So we made the t-shirts in order to sell online. It snowballed from there and people got involved and asked what more they could do. And by the time Doug left for his trip, he had 900 fans.
Well, thank you for all your trouble, Chris.
Not a problem, Doug. I'm glad we could sort you out, and I'll try and connect as many riders with you as possible on the way.
I left Wayne Gardiner and I'm trying to stick to around about 550 K a day. I'm lucky because I've got cruise control on the bike. Just lay back and have a sleep, and the bike will look after itself. I've been riding for 71 years. I've ridden through 19 countries.
He's probably ridden millions and millions of kilometres in his life. He's pretty sure he's had a few world records. I think he might have been the oldest man to ride across every desert in Australia in the shortest amount of time.
It's just always a story that comes out of it. Falling in the Nile River because he's misquoted how far a boat is from the jetty, to hitting buffaloes, to hitting buses full of Eskimos or someone.
I think he's just got a natural drive to want to do bigger and better, and I don't know, maybe the mad side of him hopes that if he goes bigger and better he might, you know, fall off the edge of a cliff next time, and that's how he's told us all time and time again he wants to go.
Doug, how you doing? We've got just over 1,800 fans following you now. We speak every day, and I update the Facebook site with what Doug's up to on the road. The Facebook community have been amazing, and they want to meet Doug, they want to get involved. We've had riders meet up with him and help him through large cities like Sydney. There's been fans who have donated large sums of money directly to Doug, just to help him out.
The first time I switched on Facebook, I see a photo of me, and I thought, how in the hell did that get on it? But then the next thing, I'm getting all these young fillies on the Facebook inviting me to stay with them, and that became a little difficult to handle.
I saw that he was coming through Mackay and he'd been sleeping by the side of his bike by the side of the road, and I was like, you can't do that. So I offered what little we had.
I rode into McDonald's, and some young girl in a brand new red Holden bipped the horn at me. The next thing she pulls up, come over, said, are you Doug Sunderland? I said, yeah. She's about 28 or 29, and she said, oh, you're staying with me for the night. Well, I thought, that sounds odd.
And he goes, oh, aren't you a bit worried about inviting some stranger into your house or whatever? Like, you know, it could be an axe murderer or something. I just looked at him and I sort of said, well, no offence, mate, like, but, you know, you're pushing the age and stuff, and I reckon I can handle myself. So, like, yeah, you're welcome to come and, like, I think it'll be all right.
So she took me to the house, and I was as scared as hell. She put me up for the night and took me to a barbecue that she'd arranged with a couple of friends. And that was an enjoyable part of the Facebook.
Hey Doug, can't wait to see you next time you come to Mackay.
The first day of my life that I know about was I was age 4.5, and I can remember with one arm wrapped around a little tree trying to hang on to my mother and bawling my eyes out because I got put in the old Melbourne orphanage. During the Depression years, my mother had myself and my brother too, and it became very difficult for her. We spent 6.5 years locked up in that home. I copped the cane on a daily basis. And when I was 14, I got a job at the motorbike shop, and that was the best thing that ever happened because I learned to ride motorbikes. The bike just had its first service since leaving Melbourne. Well, I'm in Darwin at the moment. The bike decided that it was going to play up every day. So from Queensland right through to Darwin, I had considerable trouble with the bike. And hopefully it's all fixed. Hopefully. My doctor said I've got to check in here for some blood tests. But I'm running short of time, so I can't be bothered. I'll give it a miss today.
Doug will usually ride with no technology. He usually just goes out alone and takes things as they come, but I wasn't comfortable with that. Doug, how you doing, mate?
Oh, I'm going well, mate.
Yeah? How's the bike going?
Good.
Knowing that he was having trouble with the bike and with his health, I've got a GPS device that tells me exactly where Doug is. I've been watching you on the GPS tracker. I've got you on the web.
I hope you turned it off when I went to the dunny.
No, it didn't catch you. It's not that accurate.
Oh, that's all right then. I first met my wife, Nellie, in 1944. Nellie said to me, I'm off to the pictures. What about coming? I said, no, I can't afford to go. She said, why? I'm saving up to buy me motorbike. She offered to pay for me to go to the pictures. I thought, this is a bit good. So I knew then that I'd probably spend the rest of my life with this young lass.
It was a hard job as a mechanic in a country town and bringing up 6 kids. On top of that, he would go out after hours and work the RACV service. Yeah, they were tough times, and with that, yeah, Dad was a tough person. He ruled with an iron fist. He was very hard. Possibly a product of his upbringing, I don't know. But my observation was it was certainly would have cut him out of being, father of the year. A big part of his life was motorbikes. The family and Mum were happy for him to pursue those passions of his. A lot of times it meant a little bit more peace and tranquility around the house as well,
I enjoy the riding. It's just so nice and peaceful. You stop where you want to stop. 2 fingers on the horizon, between the horizon and the sun. And I stop on the side of the road or wherever. I carry a tarp. I don't bother with a tent. And lay on the tarp and throw it over the top of me. And that's the best way to live. I'm ready to sleep. The only clothing I remove is my crash hat. That way it doesn't matter if I get wet because everything's pretty well waterproof.
Doug doesn't eat on the road. I don't understand why. He skips meals. He lives on a really tight budget and he won't spend money on himself. He'll sleep next to his bike rather than stay in a hotel that's $20 more expensive than he thinks it should be.